I've put off making this video for a while just because, I mean, as you'll see, these are the sort of videos that are just like really hard for your average creator to make, and I'm no exception. Essentially, if you can't tell from the title, I'm here to kind of ask for help and hopefully explain some things. This is definitely not going to be the most polished video. I have no script, I have no anything, but I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I think the time is as good as it's ever gonna get. Basically, I have some big questions to be asking myself in regards to my future, just as a person, and certainly my future on YouTube. Just for some backstory, little history and a little context for where we're at today with myself and with Film Radar. I started this channel in 2015. I mean, technically the channel was created in 2014, but I really only started producing content for the channel in 2015. It was originally a combination of me and my brother. We were both making videos. At the time, we weren't really referring to them as video essays because we had a different idea for what we wanted the channel to be. And you can even kind of see the remnants of that in some of the first videos on this channel. There were going to be reviews as well as like analysis stuff. And then I was going to have just like top 5 countdown lists, and it was going to be very just kind of Watch Mojo sort of channel. And it just wasn't fun to me to just kind of sit here and try and make this content that was like, oh, hey, welcome to my channel. Like, it felt so fake, it felt so forced, it wasn't me at all. But I was a big fan of Every Frame of Painting and Channel Criswell. Those were like the two big guys that I couldn't get enough of. I thought their content was amazing, and I thought, you know, why am I doing something that I'm not really passionate about? Like, I love movies and I love TV, and I want to talk about this stuff in a more interesting way than just, ooh, here's my pick for top 5 underrated films, which is a video on this channel, and just kind of built from there. My brother jumped ship pretty early. He just wasn't as interested in making the videos at all, and even when I started kind of pivoting in style of content that I was making, he still just wasn't interested, and so it became just a solo venture where I would research and write and edit and design and whatever, everything for every video. I wanted to take it seriously because I was not happy with where I was at in my life in terms of my career. Basically, all I've ever wanted is to make movies. But it's hard, you know, like I envy people like musicians or painters or photographers where you can do it on your own. It's better if you do it with other people usually, but you can do a lot of these other things on your own. You cannot make movies alone. I don't care how talented you are, I don't care how smart you are, you cannot do it alone. And the more people that you add, the more money that goes into it. And that was kind of always the barrier for me. I've never been a wealthy man in my life. You know, the whole dream of becoming a filmmaker just kind of kept getting pushed further and further because I didn't have the equipment, I didn't know the people, I just didn't have anything that I needed to really take it seriously. I did do like short films and stuff with my brother, sometimes on my own. We had fun doing that, but it was just always too much limitation because we couldn't get help. We didn't have money, we didn't have connections. So it was really challenging. And at the time I was just working entry-level minimum wage jobs. I've worked at Walmart, I worked at a Dollar General, and then I was a barista for a long time. I worked at Starbucks for a while, had nothing but positive things to say about that experience. But it was never where I really wanted to be heading in my life. And it felt really clear to me that I needed to do something more. It was just this feeling of, I'm never going to be able to make enough money working for these sorts of entry-level positions to be able to invest in filmmaking. And I'm going to have to be able to invest. It's going to cost money, even if I'm getting like the lowest paid workers possible for, you know, the camera work, for actors, whatever. It's still going to be way more than I can afford, or for equipment rentals, you name it. I mean, just it was just never a feasible thing. And so I wanted to start YouTube as this way of not only challenging myself to learn more about film and to share this passion that I have with the world, but also, yeah, to make some money, because I live in America. Everything is run like a business, including your own health. And so I needed something that at least could like lead to other opportunities. There's always this anecdote that I've kept in my head as kind of a personal encouragement. There's a channel on YouTube called Wheezy Waiter. He's been making videos for a very, very, very long time. He started out doing vlogs and these like comedy sketch videos, but he always had a smaller audience compared to a lot of his other even friends. Like he was friends with the Green Brothers, for example, but he just never really had the audience. But it didn't matter because he put enough time and enough work into his content that just doing that work led to opportunities that he wouldn't have had as just a waiter. He ended up getting hired as an editor, and that was his job for a long time until he started to make enough money to just go full-time doing what he was doing with the Wheezy Waiter channel. And so that was kind of my philosophy too, was like, well, one way or the other, either I was going to succeed on YouTube as a YouTuber, or it was going to open a door for me as an editor or a graphic designer, a motion graphics artist, voiceover artist, writer, you name it. I felt like I was putting enough time and enough effort into these videos that were showcasing these different talents that would pay me more than minimum wage, right? And I kept pushing with it and pushing and pushing and pushing. And obviously, you know, things did kind of start going pretty well. 2017 was a crazy year for video essays in general. A lot of people really discovered the genre that year. I can remember very vividly, I was working a part-time job at a coffee shop. Just on break, I was checking the YouTube analytics and just seeing it boop, 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 just like climbing for my video on the master. And I was just freaking out like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I've never seen this happen before. And I ended up finding out why. It had been shared on No Film School, you know, millions of followers across the internet. And I had never had exposure like that before. It really popped off and I got a lot of subscribers out of it. I think I got like 10,000 views and then about like 1,500 subscribers out of it, which is huge for a conversion rate. And then it just kind of kept going. I made this video on Fight Club and sound design. That one made it on the PDS, the Philip DeFranco show, which was crazy to me. It got shared all over, you know, that one ended up on like IndieWire and Vice and all these different places. And it really just kind of kept building from there. And it started to feel like, okay, hey, something's happening. Like I'm not just some madman with a dream here. I clearly should keep pushing for this, right? And so it was just a matter of juggling everything, just life and then this YouTube thing on the side. And so I ended up like moving back in with my parents for a little while to just try and really maintain my presence on YouTube, because it felt like this was my time, you know, it felt like things were growing fast enough and well enough that if I could just buy myself like 6 months or maybe a year to just work on YouTube, that I would be doing really great. And then things just kind of started getting really wishy-washy. Like I had a couple of sponsorships earlier on, and then I just wasn't getting sponsorships anymore. And for those of you who don't really know a lot about like the YouTube economy, ad revenue is not really going to be your main piece of the pie. It started to hit a point where I wasn't so sure what to do anymore. It was freaking me out, and I wanted to make this sort of video then, but I hesitated, as I'm hesitating now, because it's hard to ask for help. So I just kind of kept just trudging along and saying, hey, like we'll see what happens. But I started to get really depressed. I pretty much just stayed at home and worked on Film Radar and tried my best to find things to keep me happy for me. And, you know, things weren't terrible, but there was always just a lot missing. I actually didn't really have a social life. I didn't really have a lot of money, and even though I was living rent-free and like bill-free, thank you parents, it wasn't enough to like even really start making a dent and getting savings put together to, you know, to move or to figure out what the next step was going to be. And it was a tough time. It was a really tough time, and it became very clear to me that the only way to start to see a better future for myself was to leave, because it's a small town, middle of nowhere in Illinois. I think a lot of people who live in those kind of country backwoods small towns would relate to that. You know, my brother and my friend Hayden were living in Chicago, and it felt like Chicago was the natural next step and the important next step. And I knew for sure I wasn't going to be able to just rely on Film Radar to make that work, so I didn't even try. When I moved, I got a job. I started working at a coffee shop. I was working about 25 hours a week because I was making enough with like ad revenue, Patreon, sponsorships, you name it, to like supplement the income that I didn't need to be full-time, but I was still very much, you know, living check to check. It was really taxing on me because I was doing this job again, working like a good amount of hours just at that job alone while still trying to juggle YouTube. And it was really hard. So it was just a lot of shit swirling around and making me just kind of feel very uncertain about what to do. And again, I thought about making this video, but again, I hesitated, and I basically just said, hey, no, like we can't do it. We can't ask for help. We got to just figure this out on our own. And I found some freelance work, which I had never really been able to find before. I had always kept trying because, like I said, it's always just been about, like, how do I get enough money that I am not in poverty anymore? You know, like, how do I get on health insurance? How can I eventually live on my own and maybe even buy a house someday? You know, I'm 28 years old. I'm thinking about these things. I have to be thinking about my health. I have to be thinking about my future. Compared to what I could get paid as a barista, there's just a lot more opportunity for someone with skills with Adobe Premiere or After Effects or whatever. And I like doing that work a lot more. So it just never made any sense to me to completely give up on that side of it, because otherwise then I'm just back entry level doing the same stuff that I was doing when I was 20 and making the same amount of money that I would have been when I was 20, which is just not going to work. And so I had like a few freelance opportunities kind of come and go over the years, but they were never consistent and they never lasted longer than just that like initial contract. And that was just kind of the nature of it. I did a couple freelance things trying to build my portfolio, like where I didn't charge anything, and that ended up being a bad idea because once you open the gates to say that you'll do something for free, everybody wants something for free. So I got a freelance opportunity with this company that I had done work with in the past, and I felt really great about it, and it seemed like it was going to be an amazing opportunity. It was going to pay as much as my coffee shop job, so it felt like finally we're entering this stage proper. And it was great, but short-lived. It ended up falling apart, and I did pick up another freelance job, but it wasn't paying even nearly as much. So for the last few months, I mean, I've just been really struggling to figure out what I'm doing, because I've still been dealing pretty heavily with depression and insane levels of stress and anxiety. And it's why, you know, I've thought about making this video a lot and have pushed it off for various different reasons, but here I am because I honestly kind of don't know what else to do. Based on the way things are going right now, it's looking very likely that I'm just gonna have to go back to work as a barista or whatever else. And as much as I have tried to find other editing, graphic design work, I never seem to be able to. I've tried like Fiverr, Upwork, you know, I've applied to countless jobs and I've gotten interviewed for them, but they've never gone past that like interview stage. I have sent countless emails to countless different companies offering my services without getting a response. And, you know, because the views have been dipping lately on the channel, that means sponsorships aren't just banging on my door like they used to be. And they're certainly not offering what they used to be offering. And Patreon has just continued to slip and slide. And the truth is, I know I could have done more, and I know I could have done better. And that's part of why it's been hard for me to make this video, because if I'm being really real with myself, it's like, you know, I could have worked harder. I could have put out more videos. I could have spent less time being a perfectionist or procrastinating, which I did a fair amount of that too, you know, and I should have done things a lot differently, but I didn't. And that's the way it is. You know, mistakes illuminate themselves after the fact when it's too late and the damage is done, and you just have to learn from those mistakes and move forward. I don't want to stop making YouTube videos because I do really still enjoy making YouTube videos. It's just something has to change, and I don't know what that has to be. But I want to still make Film Radar something, because I know that it still has potential to be, and I know that I still care enough about the content that I produce that I can still grow. And, you know, the depression hasn't been as severe lately, so I'm feeling very motivated. I've been doing a lot of soul searching and just like really sincere, honest analysis about myself and about my behavior and about what I need to do differently. And the truth is, I could have done a lot better this last year to produce more content for Film Radar, and I should have. But, you know, I'm changing how I do all of it. I'm being better about all of it. I feel like the cloud of depression is lifting. I'm still in that space, but it's not as overwhelming as it used to be. And it's not as crippling as it used to be. It used to feel like I might not ever see the other side of that, but I really believe that I can. So this is the tough part. This is the part that we all knew was coming as soon as you clicked on this video, but here we go. I am here asking for help. As much as I hate to do that, because I'm a YouTuber, right? It's like, who cares? Get another job, idiot. Like, if money is so fucking tight, what are you doing asking your online community for help? Get a job, right? On that note, this isn't meant to just be like the, you know, like, here's my tin cup and please fill it up. Like, if any of you want freelance work done, let's talk. You can leave a comment on this video. You can DM me on Twitter. My email is available publicly for anyone to email me. You can find it on my YouTube channel. You can find it on my website. There's actually a submission form on my website if you want to go that route. There's a lot of different ways that you can get in contact with me. If you want to hire me as a writer, graphic designer, video editor, motion graphics artist, you name it. If you want to work with me in any capacity, if you want me to teach you how to use After Effects, if you want me to teach you how to make a thumbnail, if you want me to teach you the tips and tricks to SEO, I actually do know a good amount about that stuff. I know more than your average YouTuber, I think, about like how the algorithm works and what the system kind of prioritizes. And it's why I've managed to find any success considering how rarely I upload videos. I'm not just trying to sit here and beg. I really want to do what I can do to make this situation better, but help is always appreciated. If you are in a position where you're able to help me and you want to help me, that would be amazing. I'm not expecting anything because I get it. I don't upload super frequently. There are tons of other channels that also are asking for support. Why would you support me, guy who maybe disappears for 2 months at a time? You know, I get it. But for those of you who are watching, and I know there are a lot of you who have been with me for a while, I see some of you guys in the comments on every video, and it's awesome. And if that is the maximum support, like if financial support is out of the question, hey, like, no, don't feel bad. Don't worry about it. Like, this is my shitty situation that I caused. I have screwed up a lot in my life, and I'm not trying to make any excuses about that. I'm not trying to deflect that blame, and I'm certainly not trying to pass that responsibility onto my audience. Like, that's crazy. If all you can do to help is watch, that's more than enough. And thank you from the bottom of my heart from watching the content that I make. Like, seriously, of all the channels out there, of all the videos that you can watch on the internet, the fact that any of you take the time out of your day to watch mine is really special, and I could not ever begin to thank you guys enough for that. The fact that I've ever made any money doing this whatsoever is crazy to me. But the thing is, it is a business, and I have to treat it like a business, and I have to treat it like a job. And if it's not paying a certain amount, it's going to be an ongoing question based on how these next few months go. I don't know for sure what I'm going to do. I can say for sure I'm never going to quit YouTube completely, but if I have to get a normal full-time job or several just to afford living, maybe every 6 months you'll get a new video, sort of thing. And so if you don't want that to happen, if you want me to keep pushing for this channel, if you want me to keep producing content, and if you want me to produce content more regularly than I have been, this is an opportunity. I have my Patreon set up, and I've actually just recently like revamped some of the reward tiers on there, because I do want to offer more of an incentive to give as opposed to just charity. So I have stuff on there like, if you do want private tutoring, if you do want like SEO coaching, that kind of thing, I have that available. If you're looking for more insight into what goes into making my videos, those are available at other tiers, like good behind the scenes glimpses into, you know, what kind of goes into making these videos and how I do what I do with After Effects and whatever. But basically, that's the gist here, is asking for help on Patreon if you can and if you want to. I would never want anyone to feel obligated, and I never want anyone to feel guilty, because as someone who has struggled with money literally my entire life, I understand what it means to not have an extra dollar to spare. I mean, that's a very real reality for a lot of people. But for a lot of people, I also understand that it's not. And it's just like there are some people who have dispensable income every single month. And if you're one of those people, if you can set aside $1 or $5 or $10 or $20 or however much you want, there's no maximum. And hey, I'm not going to say, you know, Bill Gates, if you're out there, you want to become a $10 million monthly patron, I'll take it, dude. But you know what I mean? Like, anyone who has found value in the content that I do and wants me to keep going, it's something that will not only just logistically help me ensure my survival on YouTube, but seeing any support like that, honestly, right now would be really helpful, because I've been feeling a lot of doubt and insecurity about my channel lately. It feels like my channel is kind of just going nowhere. I feel like I've plateaued at, like, I hit 100,000 subscribers and it's basically stayed there for the last 8 months or however long it's been, and almost all of my like worst performing videos have come out within the last year. It's been stressful, and it's made me wonder where I stand, if I even have a future on YouTube at all, or maybe this is just, you know, the death rattle before it ends completely. And so like, any sort of support to let me know that like people still give a shit about what I do would be like really great. I also have a PayPal set up if you don't want to commit to a monthly thing, but you want to throw me like a little tip. If you think of it as like a little tip jar, like you would on Twitch or anything, you know. And that's how I kind of want people to think of it, right? The PayPal is, if you've ever watched a video of mine that you really liked and have like $1 or $5 or $10 or whatever you want to kick my way because you enjoyed it that much, that's available to you. You don't have to commit to a monthly guarantee. I get that if you want to avoid that, but so PayPal is an option as well if you want to help me that way. Basically, yeah, there are the 3 tiers of how you can help me. Either you can help me out on Patreon, where you can cancel in time, pledge as much as you want, it comes out every month, or you can do a one-time donation through PayPal, or hire me, you know, like put me to work, and I'm happy to be put to work right now. Short of that, any words of encouragement would be really helpful too. I could use them. It's been a rough few years, and I try to keep that away from this channel because I don't really feel like people care. I'm just like the movie dude. You don't come here to hear about my bullshit. You come here to watch my videos on movies. And I've always wanted to keep it that way, but I figure there's at least a few of you out there who would appreciate this kind of update and transparency and just talking about what's going on with me and with the channel. And the heat just kicked on, so that's probably going to be really annoying. But since we've already been recording for this long, I'm just going to finish it. Apologies for the background noise. That's going to be actually really annoying. I want this year to be the biggest year for this channel. I can't guarantee that I'm going to hit this goal, but the goal is to do 2 videos a month starting in March and hopefully continuing for the rest of the year. I already am hard at work on the next video, and each video from here on out is going to have supplemental material that you can find exclusively on Patreon. And I'm also in collaboration with a site called 8 Hours that you guys should check out. I've been doing some work for them. Great site. They produce amazing content, and I'm hoping to get more and more involved in that world. But they're still kind of in the beta stages of rolling out some of these other things, and so I can update you guys as the time is appropriate. But basically, I want to do 2 videos a month from here on out, and I just want to see what happens. This is, I guess, kind of my final push. I've been doing this really seriously for 4 or 5 years now, and the fact that I'm still living check to check, the fact that I'm still living without savings, the fact that I'm living without health insurance, something needs to change. And hopefully that can just be my presence on YouTube and, you know, how much money I make on YouTube. But if it's not, then that means I have to ask myself some other questions, and that means realistically things changing pretty considerably, and that's just the way that it has to be. The last thing that I would want is just to disappear on you guys without some sort of explanation, or without a chance for you guys to rally together if that's what you want to do. And seriously, like, if you can't support, just thank you for sticking around and paying attention to my videos and commenting on the videos, liking the videos. All of that stuff is really great too. But hopefully that gives you guys an understanding of where I'm at, and hopefully there are no questions, or, you know, hopefully there's no confusion. But if you do have any questions, if there is any confusion whatsoever, feel free to ask me in the comments. But I just wanted to give a backstory and an understanding of where I'm at, and bring you guys into that decision-making process though, and just to keep you posted so you know what's going on. But anyways, stay tuned. There will be a new video within the next couple of weeks. Thank you for watching, and for any of you who do decide to support me, seriously, thank you so much. And for those of you who have been, like, I see you people on Patreon, you are lovely, and a lot of you have been there for a very, very, very long time, and I cannot thank you enough for your continued support. But I want you guys to know that I understand that the burden is on me here. Any help and support would be great, but I am ready and willing to do whatever I have to do to fix this on my own, and I know that it is my problem to fix. So I just wanted, I don't know, I hope all that's clear. This is part of why I've been nervous about making this video, because I don't want to come off as like this entitled beggar YouTuber, you know, who doesn't want to just fucking get a real job. But hey, yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for your continued support. And I appreciate any of you who do decide to support me. Thank you so much. And I guess that's it. I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna